Rain poured heavily over the quiet street as a thin, tired-looking homeless man slowly walked toward the bright glass doors of a large office building. His clothes were torn, his beard messy, and his shoulders slightly bent as if life had pushed him down too many times. People passing by barely looked at him. Some moved away. Others pretended he didn't exist. But what none of them knew was that this man was not truly homeless. Hidden beneath those dirty clothes was a successful businessman, a single father, and the owner of the very company he was standing in front of. And tonight, he was about to test someone in a way no one could ever imagine. Before we continue this emotional story, if you believe that kindness still exists in this world and that people deserve second chances, please take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who believes in humanity, and subscribe to the channel Lonely Dad Strong Heart for more powerful stories like this. Daniel Harper had built his company from nothing. 10 years earlier, he had been a struggling young man with a newborn daughter in his arms and a heart shattered by tragedy. His wife had passed away during childbirth, leaving Daniel alone to raise their daughter Emily. Those early years were the hardest days of his life. He worked late nights, took multiple jobs, and often slept only a few hours. But every time he felt like giving up, he would look at Emily sleeping peacefully and promise himself that he would build a better life for her. Slowly, step by step, Daniel created a small logistics business that eventually grew into a successful company. His employees respected him, but many only saw him as a strict and disciplined boss. Very few people knew the struggles he had gone through or the loneliness he still carried in his heart as a single father. One evening, Daniel sat in his office reading an email complaint from a client. The complaint wasn't about a delivery mistake or a delayed shipment. It was about how one of his employees had treated a poor man who came near the company building asking for help. According to the message, the man had been shouted at and forced to leave in humiliation. The email disturbed Daniel deeply. His company had policies about treating everyone with respect. But policies on paper meant nothing if people forgot basic human kindness. Instead of calling a meeting or giving a lecture, Daniel decided to learn the truth in his own way. The next morning, he woke up earlier than usual and dressed in clothes no one had ever seen him wear before. Torn pants, an old jacket, worn-out shoes, and a fake beard that made him look almost unrecognizable. Looking at himself in the mirror, even Daniel barely recognized the reflection staring back at him. For the first time in many years, he stepped out not as a wealthy businessman, but as someone the world would ignore. As he approached his company building, employees were arriving for work. Expensive cars filled the parking lot. Well-dressed professionals walked confidently toward the entrance. Daniel sat quietly near the front gate on the sidewalk. Within minutes, he noticed something painful. People who worked for him walked right past him without even a glance. Some frowned at him as if his presence annoyed them. A few whispered to each other and laughed. It hurt more than he expected. These were people whose salaries he paid, whose families depended on the company he built. Yet none of them seemed to see him as a human being. About 20 minutes later, a young employee named Kevin walked toward the entrance. Kevin had been working at the company for about 6 months. He was quiet, hardworking, and always polite, though he often kept to himself. As Kevin approached the gate, Daniel softly asked if he had any spare change for food. Kevin stopped. Unlike the others, he didn't rush away. He looked at the tired man sitting on the sidewalk and hesitated for a moment. It was clear Kevin didn't have much money himself. His shoes were worn, and his bag looked old. But something in Kevin's eyes changed. Instead of ignoring him, Kevin reached into his pocket and pulled out a small lunch box. Without saying much, he placed it gently beside Daniel. Inside the box was Kevin's own breakfast. Daniel felt something tighten in his chest. Kevin then quietly sat down next to him for a moment, asking if he was okay and if he had somewhere safe to sleep. His voice carried no judgment, only concern. Daniel realized something powerful in that moment. The employee who earned the least money in the company was showing the greatest kindness. But the test wasn't over yet. As Kevin stood up to go inside, another employee noticed what was happening. The man frowned and told Kevin not to waste time helping homeless people near the building because it could ruin the company's image. Kevin looked uncomfortable but calmly replied that a company's image should come from how it treats people, not from pretending poor people don't exist. Daniel sat silently, listening to every word. For the rest of the morning, Daniel continued sitting outside. Some employees avoided him. One security guard even told him to leave the area. But Kevin came back during his lunch break. This time he brought a sandwich and a bottle of water. He didn't act like he was doing something special. To Kevin, it was simply the right thing to do. What Kevin didn't know was that Daniel had been quietly observing everything. Late in the afternoon, Daniel finally stood up and walked away. The next day, something unusual happened at the company. All employees received a message asking them to gather in the main conference hall for an important announcement from the owner. When everyone sat down, the room buzzed with curiosity. Then the door opened. Daniel Harper walked in wearing his usual suit. At first, nothing seemed unusual. But then he began telling a story about a homeless man who had sat outside the building the previous day. As he described the torn clothes, the rain, and the way people reacted, some employees started shifting uncomfortably in their seats. Then Daniel revealed the truth. He told them that the homeless man had been him. The room felt completely silent. Shock spread across every face. Daniel explained that he had wanted to see how people in his company treated someone who appeared to have nothing. He talked about the many employees who ignored the man, the ones who mocked him, and the few who asked security to remove him. Then Daniel turned toward Kevin. Kevin looked confused and nervous. Daniel slowly walked toward him and placed a hand on his shoulder. He told everyone that Kevin had shared his breakfast, his lunch, and his kindness with a stranger without expecting anything in return. Daniel's voice grew emotional as he explained that kindness is the true measure of a person's character, not job titles or salaries. Then Daniel announced something that shocked the entire room. Kevin would be promoted to a management position, not because of technical skills, but because he had proven he understood the most important value of the company, humanity. Tears filled Kevin's eyes. He tried to explain that he was only doing what anyone should do. But Daniel smiled and said that sadly, not everyone does. The moment changed the atmosphere of the entire company. Employees who had ignored the homeless man now felt deep regret. Many realized that success and professionalism meant nothing if they forgot compassion. For Daniel, the test had also taught him something important. Despite the coldness he witnessed, there were still people like Kevin who reminded him that kindness had not disappeared from the world. And as Daniel drove home that evening to his daughter Emily, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Before we reach the ending, I have a special request for you. Please comment below with one word, kindness, if you believe small acts of compassion can change someone's life. Weeks later, Kevin continued working with the same humble attitude. The promotion didn't change him. If anything, it motivated him to treat everyone with even more respect. Daniel often watched quietly from his office window, remembering that rainy morning when a simple lunchbox revealed the true heart of a man. Because sometimes the greatest tests in life are the ones people don't even realize they are taking. And sometimes the people with the least to give are the ones who give the most. If this story touched your heart and reminded you that kindness still matters in today's world, please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and don't forget to subscribe to Lonely Dad's Strong Heart for more emotional and inspiring stories. Your support helps keep these meaningful stories alive. Heart.